Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're here to unpack complex stories, pull out the key insights, and basically give you a shortcut to getting informed. Today, we're looking at the really compelling, maybe unsettling story of someone called Dexer, a digital vigilante, right, who then shifts into running what he actually called a deception business. Our mission here is to trace that evolution, how his operations changed, the huge psychological toll it took, and what it tells us about, well, digital ethics and just human psychology.
Yeah, it's a striking story, and you have to start with where Dexter began, which was this undeniably important but also deeply traumatic digital vigilantism. Before late 2014, his group was deep into these really intense operations. They were fighting child exploitation sites, the pedo kind of thing, doxing offenders, reporting them to NCMEC. They even had a hand in the Amanda Todd case. But this work, it exposed them to things he said mentally twists your perception of humanity. Just horrible stuff. By December 2014, they were completely worn out, just numb.
Wow. It's hard to even imagine the mental weight of that. So, okay, they're traumatized, burned out. It kind of makes sense they'd look for something else, an escape, maybe. How does that lead to a deception business, though? That seems like such a sharp turn.
Well, it seemed it was a direct response to that burnout, almost like a coping mechanism. This idea for a light side business, it came up in December 2014, really just a conversation to maybe boost morale. Their first case, Client Zero, was actually a relative's friend from someone in the group. This person was cheating, wandered out of a relationship. Dexter basically said, listen, it's either we do this before our mind breaks. So they helped. The first payment landed in February 2015, and that was it. The business was running. It's a fascinating, almost kind of perverse way to cope, isn't it? Facing trauma by engaging in a different, maybe less destructive, but still morally complex activity.
Right. Controlled chaos instead of just chaos. But it wasn't just random then. They had methods. What techniques were they actually using to make these deceptions work? It sounds sophisticated.
Oh, very. The core idea was pretty clever, actually. They'd create a fake online profile specifically designed to tempt the target of the operation. The aim was to get the target to pull the trigger to cheat, as Dexter put it. So the target looks like the bad guy, the cheater. And the client, they get to walk away, reputation intact, no accountability. But there was a crucial rule. The client had to already be cheating and looking for an exit. No exceptions. That was their line. They did serious homework, too. Due diligence, psychological profiles on the targets, prepping materials for any scenario if suspicion arose. And this was all pre-AI, remember? Manual work. They found clients through Craigslist personals. The anonymity helped, obviously. And for security, they used an Eastern European bulletproof VPS, a very secure server, drawing on their old skills from the darker vigilantism work. And, ironically, the Ashley Madison hack in July 2015 actually gave them a boost in business.
That methodical approach is, it's quite chilling. Which brings us to the cost, right?
Yep.
What does doing this kind of work, this deep deception, do to a person?
Well, pretty quickly, actually. After just 4 or 5 months, Dexter describes having this internal glitch. He started looking at everyone, wondering, what were you hiding? Is your darkest secret harming people? Just constant suspicion. He tried therapy, but said it didn't work fully. Why? Because he couldn't be completely open about what he was doing. Paradoxically, he felt therapy only made him better at studying people, maybe manipulating them. His personal life suffered massively. He became, in his words, miserable as shit because of this internal war, unable to trust anyone or even talk about it. It really shows how these tools, used externally for the business, they started to warp his own internal reality.
That sounds like an unbearable way to live. And it seems that pressure eventually led to a mistake, a breaking point. What was the wrong case?
Yeah, exactly. It involved a client who had a domestic violence charge. This was a red flag. Dexter decided to break his own rules. He leaked their findings, what they had, to the target, the unsuspecting partner. But the reaction wasn't relief or gratitude. The target got angry, blamed them, and actually threatened to expose Dexter and his group, wanting to unmask us. So suddenly the danger wasn't just psychological, it was real. Arrests, exposure, the stress on the whole group was immense. He said they were all losing our damn minds on the verge of mental collapse. That was the final straw. In June 2016, they shut it all down. He quotes the Doors song, this is the end, my only friend, the end.
And looking back, his reflections sound incredibly cynical. He questions who the victims even were, saying none were entirely innocent. Does he express any reconciliation, or just that cynicism and the internal glitch?
He's pretty clear his goal now is understanding, not redemption. He acknowledges the scars are still there, things like cold rage, constantly reliving the last case. His final takeaway seems to be this really bleak view. You truly don't know anybody in this world.
So when you take his whole journey from fighting exploitation to orchestrating deception to this kind of burned out cynicism, what does it tell us? About anonymity online, about how morality gets blurred, about what trust even means anymore. It's a lot to think about. And his final piece of advice: be patient, time does the rest. Food for thought.